Hellcat.
Hello and welcome back to the channel where we've got another review. This time we're taking a look at Bust-A-Move 2 Arcade Edition. Now this came out in 1996 and games like this were still pretty rare. They weren't that common back then, whereas we all know now we've got Candy Crush and everything else that has come since then, those similar style of games. But back in 1996, the Bust-A-Move series was just in its infancy. It was a sequel to the Super Nintendo game, and it really was unique and it was addictive, and these games were incredibly popular. You know, we'd seen Columns, we'd seen Tetris, and I kind of felt that the Bust-A-Move series kind of moved it on to the next level. They were more colourful, brighter, more responsive, and they were definitely appealing. So today our review is Bust-A-Move 2 Arcade Edition. So once we hit the main screen, we have got Bust-A-Move 2X, Bust-A-Move 2, Edit mode, and our Option mode. Now under Options, it's pretty straightforward stuff. You can choose the game level, easy, normal, hard, how many points you need to win a match in a two-player match, handicap, on or off, music volume, sound effect volumes, sound in stereo or mono, music test, sound effects test, controller configuration, the demo timer, and that is it pretty much. Now we've got Bust-A-Move 2X and Bust-A-Move 2. Basically they're the same game, but they offer different maps and different challenges, so it's kind of like just a different challenge for each one, basically the same kind of play. You've got practice mode, normal mode, and hard mode for each. Now in practice mode you can only do the first 3 rounds, but I would strongly recommend doing this first to get used to the game. Now the game itself is pretty straightforward, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got your bubble machine at the bottom and it shoots your bubbles, and you've got to line them up 3 in a row or more to make them pop. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy, and the concept of the game is straightforward. It really is. It's actually quite difficult. Once you've been playing it a bit, you'll realize that, but definitely I would go for practice mode first, because that is really a good way to set yourself up to understand how to do it and get used to it, basically. One thing I've got to say is if you're playing this game expecting a visual masterpiece or fantastic special effects that push the Saturn, then this isn't the game for you. These games are not designed on having spectacular graphics. This game is nothing more than a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo game graphically. If you compare it with the first one that came out on the SNES, I couldn't really say there's major improvements, if I'm honest. It's bright and it's colourful, which is what these games tend to be, but anything more than that, there really isn't much graphically going on that you wouldn't expect to see, like I said, on a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo. So talking about the sound, it is the kind of music that you would expect this game to have. It's chirpy, it's lively, it's bubbly, fits the game very, very well actually, so I can't fault the music tracks that you have in the game. One thing I could potentially fault is the quality of some of the sound effects. They are cartridge quality. They are what you'd expect from the Mega Drive or the Super Nintendo, not what you'd expect from your Sega Saturn. Now, this is just my opinion. I've no idea what magazines said about the sound effects at the time, but for me, they're not that good. They're not that impressive. It's a 1996 game. I'd probably expect far more, because you've got all that storage space on a CD to get good quality sound effects in there. Unfortunately, they're not. But like I said, the music itself, it's a positive, fits the game, it's chirpy, it's cheerful, and it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a game like this. Now, at the start of the video, I touched on starting on practice mode being a good way to set yourself up in this game, and I definitely think you should do that, because It'll build up your confidence and your understanding of the different shapes that are inside the colored blocks as well. And that's of paramount importance for someone like myself who's got color blindness and difficulties with colors. This is not the kind of game that I can do well at easily. So much so that on normal difficulty, on the 2x mode and the standard mode, I could not get past level 3. I tried probably 24 times each one, and I could not get past it. The computer's speed, accuracy with their shooting was just uncanny. I haven't even tried hard difficulty yet because I just don't want to know, in fact, how hard that must be. But I simply cannot get past level 3 because of the difficulty. Now, obviously, with color blindness and the issues I have, perhaps seeing the difference between the orange and the green and the blue and the purple, they are big problems for myself. So I have to focus more on the shapes that are inside the colored circle. So it probably does take me a split second longer to react. But I genuinely feel, though, regardless of that, this game is so difficult. Now, you've also got the challenge mode, and that you can progress through that a little bit more because of the challenges aren't necessarily always directly one against another computer character. So that adds more variety to the gameplay as well because of the way those levels are set up. Some of them are full screen, so you've got far more space to shoot your balls, I should say. So the challenge mode is probably the bulk of the game, in my opinion. Now, you can't save your progress through that, so you've got to go from beginning to end in one go, and that is going to take a long time. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, so bear that in mind when you're doing that. But in terms of the way it plays, it does play well. It's great, it's enjoyable, it's frustrating, which is exactly what these kind of games should be, but it is unbelievably difficult. So onto the lifespan of the game, and that really depends on if you've probably got somebody to play 2-player mode with or not, because this is the kind of game where the competitiveness of the 2-player really endures, makes the game last longer and gives it more of that longevity. If you don't have that, then you may well find yourself not playing it so much because of, like I've touched on, the difficulty is really hard. It's really hard in 1-player mode, and for me, playing it, trying level 3 20 odd times on 2x mode and normal mode, and I just could not do it, kind of made me want to just turn the game off and not go back to it. Now, you've got puzzle mode as well, where you pick letters of the alphabet and you get 5 challenges per level to try and progress to the other side, and they get harder and harder, and this is the main bulk of the 1-player experience. The only downside with this is that you can't save your data. You've got to do it all in one go, and that's kind of a big ask, it is. And again, that does get difficult. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Lifespan, though, yes, if you've got a 2-player option, somebody to play with, family members, friends who don't mind playing a game like this now and again, then yes, it's going to have much more longevity than if you're just playing it as a 1-player only game. All in all, then, is it worth playing Bust-A-Move 2 in this day and age? Yes, it is. It's not an expensive game. It's only £10 at CEX, and you can usually get yourself a copy in decent condition like I did. So it's not hard to find. It's not expensive, so it's always worth thinking about. If you like these kind of games and you've got a Saturn, definitely worth giving a go, 100%. You may well find it easier than me if your eyes are 100%. I've got problems with astigmatisms and minus 11.5 vision as well, so my eyes are not designed to be good at a game like this. If yours are decent, then yes, you'll probably be able to do a bit better than I have. And like I said, with a 2-player option with someone to play with, it's definitely worth giving a go. I can't rate the game badly. If you can look on the screen, I'll show you the scores now, because I looked at what it got, and it did score highly in magazines at the time, and I can understand why. In the mid-90s, there really was nothing else kind of like Bust-A-Move. I know there's loads of games like Candy Crush and everything now, but in the mid-90s, this was a truly original game. So, all being said, yes, it's a pretty decent game, but it's really a case of whether you can do better, and you've got the tools in your eyes to be better at a game like this than I have. That is it for today. Another review done and dusted. Bust-A-Move 2. If you've played it, if you've owned it, what are your opinions on it? Is it easier if you've got decent eyesight? Let me know in the comments down below. But as always, thanks for watching, and I shall see you again soon for another Saturn review. Goodbye for now.